Well, it's another beautiful sunny day here in Ohio. No, that's not right. It's raining. Well, finished up morning chores here. Had to put on the old duck suit and have a good time swimming around the manure. But today we're going to be working on a little bit of a project we have. That loader I mentioned in the other video that hasn't been edited yet that you will see, hopefully before now. Anyways, we're going to be working on getting our patterns made for that. I've got some transfer punches that I bought specifically for this project. So these will thread into the frame of my tractor, and I can set a piece of steel up against it and smack it, and it'll not only put my outline of where my bolt hole will be, but it'll also put the center, so that I can hopefully drill this once and have it fit perfectly. That's the objective in theory anyways. So we're gonna get things put together here and get to the back shed and see what we can make happen. It's a gloomy, cruddy day, not good for anything outside. So I'm gonna try and work indoors as much as possible. I already got my first bath for the day scraping. Hopefully I don't get another one.
We are in the process of putting a loader that fits a 56-66 series tractor on an 84 series utility tractor. And the reason we're doing that is because the tie grabber bucket that we have is extremely heavy. It sticks out extremely far, and we are afraid that if we use a conventional utility tractor mount that it will break. Now, a conventional utility tractor mount is very small, and let's see, what's the loader numbers I'm looking for? Ben, help me
The
out.
2250s?
2250 loader is not rated as high. You know more about that than me. What is it rated at?
I don't know 100% what it was rated at. I think it was about 2,500 pound capacity.
The loader we're putting on here is 1,000 pounds more. Okay, but it mounts solely to the front bolster of the tractor,
just like your normal weigh box does. And then there's side plates.
On the back, there's big bolts on the back, or where the saddle mounts for the rear. What we are going to do is we're going to copycat the 2250 style saddle out of 3/4 steel instead of 3/8 or half. We're going to make it deeper, and we're going to make it longer, because this loader the mounting is about 10 to 12 inches longer than a 2250. So what we have to do is make a whole side rail for both sides. Then our saddle mounts for the pole that goes under the tractor. That's where the back rear loader mounts. And then we're going to try to reuse this or copy it for the jaw for the front where your pole goes in. So that's the next thing, is we're going to make the pattern. We're going to make it out of cardboard first, transfer it over onto wood, screw in our marking studs, smack the wood, drill the wood, transfer it to steel. Are you confused yet? I'm confused. And then put it on here, and then make our front, and then do some welding. Now we're going to have to make some modifications. We're going to have to cut out here. We want access to the filter, obviously, the oil fill, so we're going to come down here and then back up. And on the other side, we have the starter involved. I don't know if you can see back there, but the starter sticks out. There's a hump right here for one of your mounts for your starter. So we're going to have to do a little finagling on this side. This can be moved. That heater can be relocated, but the starter cannot. So this side will have to be slightly different. So we're going to make two rails. They're going to differ slightly. So that's the next plan.
The main objective we're after is just to get our bolt patterns figured out, make sure that our side plate that we're going to build is obviously, you know, parallel with the tractor so it doesn't look wonky. So that's one of the big things we're doing. I was kind of trying to avoid using that particular mount there, because like I mentioned before when we were moving corn around, that is for the 06, 56 series tractors, 80, I think even 86.
All the long things.
Okay. Well, anyways, I don't want to use that mount there because I want to save that for in the future if we ever wanted to move this loader to another tractor. Probably not, but just save it for that. Or if we ever someday wanted to sell that loader and get something different, we would have multiple options for mounting, so it'd be more attractive to customers. So that's what I'm kind of trying to do. The name of the game here is to not necessarily destroy anything that's already in existence, just copy it. We've got plenty of steel out there. We ordered that a while ago. It's been sitting around here. We've been busy. We probably had that loader for 2-ish months, I bet, probably at least, maybe longer than that. 3? Okay. Well, we've been busy to say the least. But
we had it before silo selling.
Do we? Yeah, it's November now. It's hard to believe it's already November. The year's passing. But yeah, we want to get this kind of figured out. We're going to get our transfer punches here threaded in. First things first, we're probably going to use some CAD software here, you know, cardboard aided design, and we're going to probably replicate what our steel is outside as far as length and width and all that, so that we can transfer that over to here, so we have a cheap template. Cardboard's cheap, steel is not. So that's what we're after right now. I apologize if you guys can't hear much of anything besides rain. This is a metal roof shed, and it's kind of a monsoon outside, so it's not a very pleasant day. Had to put on the duck suit this morning for doing chores. It's Ohio. You have those days here and there.
Can't all be like yesterday, I guess.
Yeah, yesterday was a beautiful day. Had a good day yesterday. We got a fair amount of corn off. Still plenty more to go, but had a good day.
What we're doing, we're going to come back here straight off the top of this front casting here, and we're going to stop at the back of this. This is the back of the mount, but this is lower than that. So what we're doing is we're coming back here part way, and then we're going to drop down and come across, so it ends up at this height. It'll have this angle, but it'll be back here. So we have as much meat as we can back here for strength. So now what we have to cut out for is this axle. That's the next step.
Cutting curves is always interesting. Guess one thing I'm really thankful for is that we live in a day and age where a guy can hop on the internet and buy stuff like these. These are transfer punches, and what we did was we threaded these into every bolt hole on this frame. And we're gonna put this piece of cardboard up here that's shaped to the shape of the tractor, so we'll have her pretty close. We're gonna smack it with a mallet, and that'll not only give me my center of my bolt hole, but these are actually sharpened on the outside. It'll give me my outer diameter of my bolt hole too. So it should be almost dead perfect with a cheap piece of cardboard that otherwise was going to be recycled or used for cow bedding. So, you know, I guess that's one thing I'm really thankful for, is that I can get tools like this. And I wish I could remember the name of the place I bought these from. I'll look it up and I'll let you guys know where I got them. But yeah, so now we can put this thing up there, get her where we want it, smack it, and it'll be pretty much perfect. And Dad's got a set of leather punches over in the shop that'll do big diameter holes. So we'll cut out all the bolt holes, and then we can actually bring it back here, put it on a tractor, put bolts in it, make sure it looks good, and then we will then transfer this over onto, I haven't decided if we're actually gonna go to the wood step or if we're just gonna go straight to steel. What do you think?
I think you can go to steel.
I think I'd go straight to steel.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll transfer this over to steel, and
You want a rubber mallet?
yeah, that'd probably be helpful for the bolt holes. Wow, that looks pretty good.
Really good. Can I see that marker?
Yep.
Oh, it's over
Right
here.
there.
And
So this is why we like to use cardboard. Found out that I made this dimension slightly too far forward, so we can actually add 3/4 of an inch of material back into here. So when we transfer this over to steel, we'll draw this all out, and then we'll use this piece here. And we'll move this curvature here 3/4 inch further forward than where it is right now. That way we have the maximum amount of steel possible on this to add as much strength as we can to this. So it's kind of the name of the game here, is to make this strong, because that loader is heavy, the bucket's going to be heavy, then you have like 1,500-ish pounds of bales that are going to be on. That's factoring on 100-pound bales. Most of our bales anymore aren't going to be 100 pounds, but I'm just going to use that as the benchmark. Benchmark for a 100-pound bale, then you know no matter what you do, you're not going to exceed that. So that's kind of the name of the game here. I'm trying to not have a failure, you know, because this is an open station tractor. Failure is not good. You could get injured. So there is a couple holes right there you see. There is a ROPS kit that goes on here. We have all the parts for that. We are adding that to this machine. So there is a ROPS, so hopefully that adds us protection that way, where the operator won't get crushed, you won't tip over, things of that nature. The last thing I want is anybody to get injured. So it's kind of a safety. We're factoring safety into everything we do. All this is being overbuilt. I know it's probably a bit dramatic using 3/4 inch steel for this. I mean, it's an 884. It ain't gonna pick up 7,500 pounds, but you get where I'm going with it. Well, today's a kind of gloomy day outside. It's Monday, December 4th. So we're in here in the shop. This is after all of our morning chores and afternoon chores here. So we're going to start working on the loader project here. These are some of the pieces of steel for our loader bracket we're going to build. These are the side pieces that go along the side. And this is our template we made the other day that you've probably seen by now. And the rest of the steel is in here on a pallet. We brought it in here the other day to try to get it to dry out. The weather's been kind of wet here lately, so we're indoors where it's warm and dry for today. We're going to go ahead and start marking this thing out, getting it ready to get blown out with a plasma cutter. So we're going to see if we can try to make something that looks decent. I think we should be able to do that, but I guess we're going to see how good we are at our pattern making, huh?
You have another one of these?
Oh, yeah. That helps if you go backwards too. Now,
That looks better.
well, draw with the right end. You good with that?
Yeah, I think that looks nice.
So if anybody's wondering, the certified glasses for running a plasma cutter are still sunglasses. The reason being is you can still see with them on. And you won't blind yourself, at least I haven't blinded myself yet. Do so at your own peril. Anyways, we got the Eastwood VersaCut 60 going. Got this thing clamped down. We're going to see what we can make happen. I have not cut anything this thick before, aside from a cast iron knuckle on a truck. So we are going to see how well this works out. The consumables on here seem to be in decent condition for what it is. I got a whole case of them if not. So we're gonna see just how about a job we can do here. But first things first, I'm gonna get something as a straight edge, because if you're like me and don't exactly have the world's most steady hand all the time, it is nice to have something as a reference line. You just have to find some piece of junk laying around here that I don't care about. That'll work. Well, I mean, I care about this. This is actually a jig for lifting the third member out of a rock motor axle. But I don't care about it so much that I'm going to be uberly upset if I ruin it. Doubt I'm never going to use it again, to be honest. But yeah, who knows? Now the way this thing cuts is you need to be about 7/8 of an inch off of the center line of where you're going to be cutting to your straight edge. I've found that through various different cuts I've made on various different projects. The piece of steel this thing is actually sitting on is a 3/8 plate that's been bought for making mounts for the Polar, but haven't gotten around to getting all that stuff done. I'm too busy farming. And this is the wrong tool for the job. Need more weld clamps. I don't put enough of them.
Sandy Paws is listening.
Yeah. Don't buy the ones that I bought, I'll tell you.
No, I only buy vice grips.
The old Hobo Freight.
Vice grips, I'm pretty partial to vice grips.
Listen, Hobo Freight's good for some things.
Yeah.
That weld cart over there I just bought, pretty decent. I mean,
I got a set of vice grips for you and Josh and myself that were marked Elite. And they're black. I think you still have them.
oh yeah, I
They were
actually just got them put them away.
Yeah, they were TSC as the same casting that was in the vice grips. They're identical. They're just not chrome. But they hold up. They're good. But most of the lookalikes are just that. Lookalikes.
Well, it doesn't appear to be moving. And we are 7/8 to the center, 7/8 to the center. That's all I care about. So, light old Sparky up there. Grab the welding glove. If the tip gets warm, I do apologize, I don't have a compressor room in this shop, so you get to listen to that annoying thing when you're trying to run the plasma. But don't get much easier than that. Ain't a bad cut. Pretty straight. A little flat sanded work made her pretty, but that was a used consumable when I started. I don't think it shaped out too bad. Aside from where, I got started and I was too wide, but it ain't bad. Got some slag on the bottom, but that'll knock right off the slag hammer, and we'll polish that with the old welder. But yeah, that's pretty thick material, I mean, I ain't gonna stick my finger on it, but there's the thumb. So yeah, it's pretty thick material. So we're gonna make quick work of this. Hopefully, and get back at it. a little smoky in here, but we got this blown out. It's not cleaned up yet. We're gonna pilot all of our holes for our bolts. Well, day's winding down here. It's about 6 o'clock now. I think I'm gonna probably head home and call it a day. Dad just rolled out of the drive, so I'm gonna probably call it here soon. Just got done finishing all these holes. Didn't film it because, well, who wants to watch a drill go round and round and round repeatedly? But they're all drilled out to 7/8. The bolt size for the tractor is actually 3/4. Made it oversized just a little bit to allow for alignment of it a little bit easier because, well, I'm not perfect, so who knows, might be off just a slight little bit, but we will get her perfectly leveled and trued up when we tighten her down. But this will be the right-hand side frame rail. The left-hand side frame rail, we have to make a provision for the starter. So when we made our template, we used a mallet to smack it, and you can see that bolstering that's on the left-hand side of the tractor. That is actually a bolt hole for your starter. The frame rail is widened to allow that to have been drilled and threaded, so when you put your starter in, there's actually a bolt there holding it in. So we will have to do a little bit of work on the left-hand side frame rail when we make that thing. We'll either have to torch out for that, or not, plasma out for that, or we might actually just try to use a grinder to just divot that frame rail a little bit, because it doesn't need to be much. It's like a 1/4 inch, and this is 3/4 plate. I'll still have 1/2 inch of that material left if I would just kind of mill that out a little bit, so to speak. I don't have a mill, so I wish I did. That's on the list someday. Right now I got a lathe. That won't do what I need to do, but I'd love to get a mill someday. That's on the list. But we're single phase power here, which is actually 2-phase, but I don't have 3-phase, so everything I want to do has to have a phase converter. Actually, my lathe is not operable at the moment because I sized up to a different size lathe, and I need to get a phase converter to run that one, and those are a little expensive. So haven't quite sprung for that yet, but I've needed that thing about a dozen times in the past 3 months. I really wish I had my phase converter one of these days. But we're gonna go home and call it a day, spend some time with the wife and kiddos, but got this all blown out. We haven't cleaned anything up yet. I still gotta grind that and make it all pretty. Just got done drilling all the holes, and you can see when you use a plasma cutter, you have the slag on the bottom side, and you just take a slag hammer, if I can hold things, and smack them. You can see it just knocks it off. Didn't do that very gracefully, but whatever. Anyways, that's why I like using a plasma cutter. I mean, yeah, I can cut this all out with a grinder, but do you know how many grinding wheels I'm gonna go through? And those things are currently like $9 a wheel. We use Norton wheels. I kind of swear by them things religiously. They work good. Yeah, you can buy some cheap stuff from Hobo Freight, but when you're working with metal, you know the good stuff. You use the good stuff for a reason. Nortons will zip through this faster than you'll ever zip through with a Hobo Freight wheel, but you will burn them up over time. So $8 a wheel is like $8.99, so we'll say $9. Yeah, that plasma cutter pays for itself quite quickly when you start buying grinding wheels. But yeah, go home, call it a day, got things cleaned up a little bit. Broke down and got the drill press out. We were using the hand drilling. Yeah, when you're talking drilling 3/4 plate, 7/8 holes in 3/4 plate, and you got 7 of them on a side, you will go through batteries like none other. And with a drill press, it's perfectly square. You know, your bed of your drill press, as long as you have it set up properly, is square. This is square. We leveled all this out with blocking, used an angle finder sitting right there to make sure everything was within spec. The shop floor is not level, so we just had to be crooked at the same degree angle, okay? It works out, do math, cool things. But anywho, I'm gonna go home. Been a long day. I'm gonna go see my wife and kiddos and eat some dinner. See you guys later.